Hello everyone and welcome back. In this video we're going to continue experimenting with Bootstrap. We're going to use it to style our form and make our form look good. So first let's look at our ugly form. Inside of here let's do add comic. And now we have this form. It's ugly as anything. Some of this ugly is because of Bootstrap, is because it removes margins and things like that. That's why it's smashed up against the side like that. But it was ugly even before we added Bootstrap. Okay, so this is just terrible form. Awful. Don't make your forms look like this in a production application. But Bootstrap has awesome form styling. So over here we're in the docs, components, and one of the components is forms. And this is what your form can end up looking like. And you can do a lot of different stuff with forms. Just as always, they've got a ton of documentation. They show you how to customize things, how to add cool little range inputs, things like that. You've got checkboxes that you can check. You got radio buttons. You can put stuff in a row instead of having them on top of each other. All kinds of different customization you can do. And I highly recommend you check it out, look into it, make it your own. We're just going to do the basic because I'm all about being basic. So inside of our comicsnew.ejs, I'm just going to comment out this entire form. We can still use the data from it when we're populating our Bootstrap version, but we're not going to have that in there. So let's just paste in the Bootstrap form, save, refresh, see what it looks like. See, this is still ugly. The problem is we need that container div that I mentioned last time. So before this actual form, we're going to add a div, class equals container. And then cut and paste that down to the bottom. And then fix this form indentation. Get rid of extra lines. Save and refresh. There, much better. So we've got this cool form. There's no title to it, and these obviously we don't want an email address and a password, but that's just the demonstration. The way that Bootstrap forms work is you basically have a form group div, and inside of that you put everything in that group, in that item. So for example, this email, there's a form group div over the whole thing, and then there's a label, an input, and a small. Now small is used for this right here, for like kind of a tiny little label if you want to do that. All we're doing is a title, a description, and an image link, so we don't need a small. We're not gonna worry about this small right now, but it is there if you want it. So our first one, we're gonna start with the input. The type is text. Leave the class alone. Form control is important. You want the form to be able to control this. The ID we don't actually need. We don't need the aria described by because we got rid of that small. And then we're going to add the name of title. Let's see if that works. Refresh. There we go. This is fixed, but we still have the email address because that's the label. Label for title. And we want it to be title. Refresh. There we go. And we want this one to be auto-focused. And we can probably just put in a placeholder equals title, just to make it even more clear. Or we could do an example, e.g. Watchmen. There we go. I like that. So now we've got this, and I'm just going to copy and paste this. Get rid of that, paste that in there. So now we have, instead of title, we want description. Description. The name is description. Our placeholder will be, we don't need a placeholder. Just leave that out, and we obviously don't want autofocus. We want that to be the first one. And then I'm going to do the exact same thing again. Getting rid of this form checks. I don't want a checkbox. So we want this to be image. Link to image. Type is text. Name is image. There we go. You'll notice down here on the button, the type is submit like always, but it has two classes. BTN. BTN is Bootstrap saying, hey, this is a button, so style it like a button. And then BTN-primary is what gives it that blue color. You could do BTN.success if you wanted to and refresh, and now it's green. BTN.warning. It'll be yellow. things like that. But just leave it as primary. And all of that information, by the way, is in the docs for buttons. Primary, secondary, success, danger, warning, info, light. You got all these different things, and there's different ways you can style buttons. You can make them outline and hover. Whenever you click on them, you can change their sizes. This is a common theme running throughout Bootstrap. They give you a basic, but you can do a lot of customization without even adding your own CSS styles, because Bootstrap gives you those opportunities. And you can do even more if you add your own CSS styles. So now we've added it to our form, and our form is nice and pretty. Let's make sure it still works. Actually, I need to add a placeholder to the image. Placeholder equals https://www.myimage.com, just to show our users, hey, make sure you include the HTTPS. So let's try this out. Whatever. Submit. Doesn't work. Why not? Because we have to set our method and our action. Because right here our form has no method and no action. So action equals /comics, method equals post. Save and refresh. Try it again. Boom. Did it work? Sure did. There we go. Obviously the picture doesn't work because it's a bad link, but that's all there is to it. If we were to sit here and try and do all this styling on our own, and again, notice this is entirely responsive. As it gets smaller and smaller, it goes down with it. Has different breakpoints. So if we had done this on our own, it would have taken forever. It would have taken us quite a long time to make these pretty, to style this button. Notice the subtle little hover effect. We'd have to write our own CSS to do that, so it's super cool. Bootstrap just makes our life so much easier. However, it's very important that you do not become entirely reliant upon Bootstrap or upon Bulma or any other front-end framework. They're nice luxuries, but your vanilla HTML, CSS, and JavaScript skills are much more important. They are what are going to get you the job, not familiarity with Bootstrap. If all you know is Bootstrap for CSS, and then you run into a problem, or you need a customization to that Bootstrap, you're going to be screwed if you don't know CSS and JavaScript and HTML well, because you can't customize anything. And all of your potential employers are going to want customization. No one wants their website to look like a default Bootstrap application. It looks good, but it's been so overdone because Bootstrap is so easy and people don't take the time to change it. So yeah, it looks good, it looks cool, but don't become reliant on it. Keep that in mind. In this video, we used the Bootstrap that we had already imported to style our form. It was relatively simple. We talked about different classes and how to apply those classes, such as the button. We looked at the Bootstrap docs for buttons and saw how you can do the different classes, button primary, button secondary, and those change the colors, like how you can do outline buttons. So button, outline primary, button, outline secondary. That class is all you have to do, and it'll add all this functionality for you. We also talked about how you should not become reliant upon front-end frameworks like Bootstrap. They're nice, they're luxuries to have, they make your life easier, but if they're all you ever do and all you ever learn, you're going to have some significant problems when you get out into the real world. As always, if you have any questions, please let me know. I'll be happy to help. Thanks.